from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Pods Moving and Storage Studios. It's the Ramsey Show, where debt is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. We help people build wealth, do work that they love, and create actual amazing relationships. Thank you for joining us, America. Merry Christmas to you. George Camel, Ramsey personality, host of the podcast The Fine Print, is my co-host today as we answer your questions about your life and your money. The phone number is 888-825-5225. Merry Christmas, America. We're glad you're here. Thanks for hanging out with us. Krista's with us in Charleston, South Carolina to start this hour. Hi, Krista. How are you?
Hi, George. Hi, Dave. How are you?
Better than we deserve. What's up?
So I am 4 months away from getting married to the love of my life. And that means yes, thank you. That means I am going to be, quote unquote, adopting his debt. And I was originally planning on using all of my money that I've saved up for my house to essentially pay off his debt when we get married. Mm-hmm. But I really don't know, how to start back at square one once I've wiped my mutual fund out. And when I talked to my financial advisor, they suggested, this was years ago, they suggested that I use my Roth IRA to save up for a house. And now I'm kind of torn because if I were to use my Roth IRA, I would lose $250,000 by the time I retire. So I'm very torn with what account I should use and if we should go month to month to pay off the debt, or if we should wipe my mutual fund, pay off the debt, and then not touch the Roth.
Okay, so how much is the total debt?
It's going to be about $20,000.
And then you have mutual funds outside of retirement that you can cash out?
Correct.
How much?
And that's going to be $21,000.
Perfect.
Sounds like a match made in heaven.
Now, what I hear from you is you're emotionally frustrated because it's kicking you back to what you called square one. You're going, I worked so hard to save up all this money, and now I got to throw it at this debt that is now
because you're marrying this loser, Krista. Gosh. That's the problem.
No.
Is that the heart behind it, though, is the frustration? Because it's a simple math equation. You clear the debt, but now you've got $1,000 in the bank instead of 21, right?
You have an emergency fund as well?
That is what I'm working on currently.
The answer is no. Do you have one or not?
I have my $1,000 month. I paid off all my debt last month, and so I'm debt free. Mm-hmm. But now I'm working on step 3, and I should have that probably in a month or two. So,
okay. Does he have any money?
Yes.
How much money does he have?
Cash, he probably has $4,000.
Okay.
4,000 or 5,000.
Okay.
And you're married 4 months from now, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So fast forward 4 months from now, you're married. We combine bank accounts once we're married. We pay off his debt. And by then, you'll probably have most of your emergency fund plus his cash. And so you'll already be at baby step 4 by the time you guys are married.
Then you start saving for a house. And no, you do not use your Roth IRA for a house down payment. And any financial advisor that tells you to do that needs their butt fired.
Okay.
So what's your income and what's his income?
Well, with all of my side jobs that I'm hoping to stop soon, right now I'm at about 85,000. My regular work, 9 to 5, is about 55.
What does he make?
He makes $75,000.
Okay, so you make $150,000 married 4 months from now. You have no debt and you have your emergency fund. You ought to be able to save very rapidly for a down payment on a house and buy a house in the fall.
This fall?
Yeah.
What a blessing that is.
Well, I mean, think about it. You make $150,000. You got no payments. You can't save $25,000 or $30,000 by fall? Of course you can.
Yeah.
Of course you can. Don't go buy a new car, save up for a house.
Oh, no. Definitely no new car.
So if you're married in March, by October, you look 6 months further down, 6 months, save up $5,000 each month. That's $30,000 right there. So it's a simple math equation. We didn't give you permission. Okay. We just did some napkin math to show you that it's possible if you do it this way.
Yeah. So our rent ends in October, and I'm really stuck on that 20% down, 15-year fix.
Well, that would be nice to have the 20% down, but if you don't have, if you want to wait all spring, maybe you got the 20% down. The point is, Krista, you got zero debt under what we're outlining here. As soon as you return from the honeymoon, you write checks, and you've got a fully funded emergency fund, and you make $150,000 a year. Rent something very inexpensive and pile up a bunch of cash by fall or by the next spring. I don't care. It's not like you're going to be homeless. You're going to get a home. You make $150,000. You just got married. Good Lord, you're going to be okay.
This is the square one.
You're doing good. Where you're getting all your stress is you're having trouble making up your mind, and you're having trouble releasing what was your plan as a single, and instead developing a really cool plan as a married couple. Because you're still floating around back there and before you were getting married. Now you're getting married, and that's a whole new deal. The bad news is you took on $20,000 worth of debt. The great news is you brought in an extra $75,000 worth of income to work on this. So it's going to work out. You're going to be in really good shape. You're doing good. You're doing good.
There's so much data coming out, Dave, about married couples being able to build wealth so much faster than singles, even than cohabitating couples. $7,000 was the median net worth of a single person, $68,000 for married couples, and only $17,000 for cohabitating couples. Well, there is power when you come together and become one, truly, in your marriage, in your finances. And so that's some encouragement to our friend Krista out there that you're about to get catapulted financially.
George, you look like a millennial, but you sound like a boomer.
I'm such an old person deep down, Dave. I know I look
deep
like
inside. It's all that
17-year-old.
It's all that wisdom and coming deep out of the soul.
You're finally rubbing off on me. That's what it is.
I don't know. You're
got shedding your age onto me, and you're becoming younger.
You got a pretty good head of hair. I haven't rubbed off on you yet, so.
Give it time. 30 years of radio later, I'll be bald too.
Well, we got rid of the headsets. Maybe it won't wear the hole in your head.
That's what it was. Sure, blame the headsets.
That's what caused it. This is The Ramsey Show.
Life is full of firsts. As the first and longest-serving Christian health cost-sharing ministry, CHM has shared medical expenses for its members since 1981. We believe you should have the freedom to focus on your health while being supported by a community of believers, giving you the opportunity to create many more firsts.
George Camel, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Our question of the day comes from our friends at Blinds.com, a great American company. They have a satisfaction guarantee that's 100%, and that means even if you screw up, which I have done this, and you mismeasure, or you pick the wrong color. Oh, I definitely picked the wrong color. And they'll remake your window blinds for free. You get free samples, free shipping, and new promos they run every month. Always use the magic word to get the best deal. The promo code is Ramsey.
Today's question comes from Teresa in Oklahoma. She's asking, the term leverage has become a ubiquitous term I encounter when discussing anything financial in almost any setting, be it business or personal. The user drops leverage into the conversation with a smug and confident tone that makes one believe that only a buffoon wouldn't use the power of leverage. The implication is that through some modern and smart financial jujitsu, $1 gains the power of 10 with zero downside. Whenever I hear the term leverage, I act dumb and say something like, by leverage, do you mean take on debt? And then listen poker-faced as the spectrum of responses unfold. I used to find it entertaining, now it's just kind of boring and sad. I'm curious if you have any thoughts on the current use of the term leverage in the financial sense. I once saw this as sort of a verbal curiosity and a fun game for me, but I now believe it's actually a quite evil use of the word. Thanks for all you do. Well, Teresa might be one of the most well-spoken Blinds.com questions we've had. Just
Amen.
Wonderful prose there,
Amen.
Teresa.
Well, and she's on to something. They're trying to say, I am sophisticated, I am an aristocrat, I use debt. The other one you'll hear thrown around, especially with the Tic Tac guys, is arbitrage.
Oh, yes.
Arbitrage. It's another.
That sounds French and fancy.
Another code word for I'm about to get myself in debt. That's what that means exactly.
Well, charcuterie is just adult speak for Lunchables, and so don't always believe the big words, people. Just because if it's a $10 word doesn't mean it's worth nothing.
Yeah, she's onto something, and typically what you find is that the people in, like she's talking about using the word leverage or arbitrage or something in conversation, actually heard it on Tic Tac, and that makes them think they're funny or that they know something or that they can throw this around as if they're on top of something. But it literally does mean debt. That's exactly what it means.
But it doesn't sound as cool when you say, well, you should take on a whole bunch of debt.
Exactly. And so, but basically she's really identified that the person that is speaking this, in most cases, in most conversational cocktail settings around the family dinner table, I'm not talking about leverage, generally that's Billy Bob who can't find his butt with both hands. And so, that's, she's onto something. This is just arrogance is what it is. And it is just simply taking on debt. And it is, in that way, it is, cloaking the fact that leverage has two sides. There's a great write-up by Warren Buffett on this, and he talks about. He always has a big paragraph or almost a page-long letter at the front of his annual report.
I've heard
every
about
year,
these.
and it's always pithy and fun. And right after 2008, he talks about this whole thing of leverage. Yeah. As anyone who has ever used leverage discovered in 2008, any number multiplied by zero will equal zero. And it's really pithy. It's like a comeback for the type of people that Teresa's talking about here. But Teresa, you're exactly right. It is simply debt. And the idea that debt will lift something that you can't lift by yourself is leverage, a fulcrum. If you remember your the seesaw, right? That's leverage, right? And so it's a physics term in that sense. But yeah, it's always thrown around as if it doesn't have risk implications, and as if the person doing it is so much smarter and sophisticated than everyone who doesn't use that term. And so you're onto something. It's horse crap.
Well, and it sounds so good on social media to the younger generations who are broke. They don't have money to invest into real estate or the stock market. And so the idea of leverage sounds so wonderful that I don't even need to have money and I can get all this real estate and have Airbnbs and be investing into single stocks.
Well, technically, debt is leverage. It will lift things you can't lift by yourself. But the thing that is forever been left out of the discussion is the risk that it entails. So as you add this leverage, you add risk. And the more leverage you add, the more you can lift and the more risk you have. The more volatile your life is, the more unstable everything is, the more likely you're about to hit the wall and, bust the car up like NASCAR, throw the engine up into the stands. I mean, it's like you're about to go put. And we were taught that. I was taught this in finance class. I was taught this in real estate business, and that's how I went broke. Was I over leveraged? Meaning I got my butt so far in debt I couldn't breathe. That's what that means. And so, and I don't have enough liquidity. There's another one you can throw around. I don't believe in having a lot of liquidity, which means you don't like cash, which means you're adding more risk to your life. That's an illiquid investment. It's like, what are you buying, water? I mean, why can't we just discuss this? But, we have to throw around $42 words to act like we're doing something. And around Ramsey, we know what all that means. We don't do it. We keep the cookies on a shelf where everybody can reach them and everybody understands that stupid is stupid.
You don't need an MBA for this.
Nope. We'll help you get there. I got a PhD in DUMB.
That's all you need.
Sign me up. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Gio's with us in Orlando. Hi, Gio. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Good afternoon. How you doing?
Great. How can we help?
So I have a question. I'm 23 years old, and I live with my parents, and I'm kind of on the fence if I should move out or should I stay here with my parents.
What do you make? What's your income?
I make $30,000 a year. I just started working with HP1 at Medicare for about 3 months now, so it'll be $30,000 a year. I have nothing in my savings, nothing in my bank account. I'm starting from fresh.
HP1. Are you selling insurance?
No, sir. I'm basically a CSR agent, so I'm enrolling prospects.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, Orlando at $30,000 a year. I want you to get out as soon as you can get out for your sake, because you will have a higher quality life. Your development into adulthood emotionally will be faster when you pay your own light bill and you clean your own laundry and you buy your own eggs for the refrigerator, right? But 30,000 is pretty tight, so I might hang a couple. Let's develop a plan that by May you move out or something like that. And during that time, let's try to get your income up. And during that time, let's see what we can do to make sure that when you move out, you maybe with a roommate, you create a budget situation where you can afford the apartment or afford the little house or whatever that you're renting. But in general, the faster you can move out of the house in your early 20s, the better it's going to be for you 10 years from now.
And Gio, I'll give you some homework to do here. Start to research the areas around you, the apartments, what is out there, what's the price, and I would definitely get roommates. I had roommates just about up until I was married. So unless you're making crazy money and you want to get your own place and it makes sense where it's not more than a quarter of your take-home pay, for example, then you need to get a roommate, and you might need to get that income up beforehand. You might need to have some money in the bank for initial deposits with wherever you're renting, and so you have a little bit of groundwork to do, but you're close, man.
Right, exactly. And I have been doing some research, and I see a great apartment around this area. It's for about $900 for one bedroom and $1,200 for a two bedroom.
There you go.
I was thinking about getting the one bedroom myself, but I was speaking to my brother about getting us the two bedroom. But I'm kind of on the fence of living on my own because I've been living with him for so long. So I just want to be on my own right now, but I don't have a vehicle. So should I purchase a vehicle first?
Yes, you need to buy a vehicle and you need to pay cash for it.
That's A1.
Absolutely, and that'll get you in a position to do that. This is The Ramsey Show. If you're looking for ways to update your home without blowing the budget, I've got it. For years, I've been telling you about our friends at Blinds.com. Blinds.com makes it simple to shop top quality blinds, shades, and interior shutters from home with easy online ordering and free shipping. With Blinds.com, there's no need to renovate your entire home. Just change out what's on your windows with upscale choices like faux wood blinds, cellular and roller shades, or even outdoor shades. Plus, Blinds.com guarantees the perfect fit, whether you do it yourself or you have them measure and install everything for you. Shop their latest looks and see how much you can save at Blinds.com today. The easy and affordable way to make your home more beautiful is Blinds.com. George Camel Ramsey personality is my co-host today. He is the host of the podcast on the Ramsey Network. It's called The Fine Print. You can be sure and check him out there. So one of our favorite things to do is Debt-Free Screams. One of our super favorite things to do is Debt-Free Screams on the Debt-Free stage live here in the Ramsey lobby. And our most favorite thing is when it's one of our team members doing their Debt-Free Scream on the Ramsey stage here in the lobby. Dalton and Ashley are with us. Dalton is a software engineer with us. So welcome, guys. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you.
Now, we have to get this out of the way. You have you have the world's best possible mustache, for those of you watching on YouTube, and that's actually real.
That's high praise, too.
And so your coworkers, who apparently adore you enough to make unbelievable fun of you, there are 60 of them standing around with fake mustaches on to match up and
men
to support
and
you.
women, I might add.
Yeah, and some of you, and I'm just saying, some of you women, that's disturbing. It's just, I was like, what is going on in my lobby?
It's uncomfortable, to say the least.
Yeah, it's a little awkward. So we're just going to put that aside, and now we're going to deal with your success. Thank God. All right. So, all right. How long you been with us?
Just over 3 years.
Okay. And how much debt have you guys paid off?
$120.
Mm-hmm. And how long did this take?
35 months.
Oh, about the time you got here.
Yep.
All right. And so, Ashley, welcome. Good to have you. I'm not going to ask your incomes because we don't do that for the team members, since all these team members are standing around. But, wow. What kind of debt was the $120,000?
Primarily student loans and a little medical bill.
Okay. All right. Cool. So did you just start this because you came to work here, or tell us the story?
Yeah, that kind of leading up to this, I had kind of grew up a Ramsey kid, I guess you could say. My dad, who's sitting right here, him and my mom were working their baby step plan. So growing up as a kid, I remember riding in the car, listening to your show, wondering why are they listening to this crazy guy named Dave? What's this finance stuff they're doing? And then fast forward to us getting married, my dad said, hey, I'm going to give you a wedding gift, but the conditions of getting that gift is you have to go through FPU.
Whoa.
So,
go Dad.
Love it.
So we went through FPU in 2018, wrapped that up, and then we kind of hit this crossroads in our journey where we were thinking, do we stay where we were at, or do we maybe make a leap of faith and go work for Dave? And I mean, here we are now. Like it's just kind of hitting me right now. I'm like, holy cow, this is actually happening.
Yeah,
so,
3 years you've been here, and 3 years you've been working on this. How long have you been married? 3 years?
5 years.
5 years, you said. Okay, so where did you move from?
Louisville, Kentucky.
Okay, all right. So your dad gives you FPU. You abandon your family and come to work for the cult, and move to the south, further south than Louisville, Kentucky, and then you guys just turn it on. So Ashley, it sounds like you kind of got sucked into all of this.
Yeah, I didn't actually know much about you or financial peace. And in fact, I was a little hesitant when he brought that to the table when we were first married. Mm-hmm. I just had an assumption that that's not something that we can do. that it's not possible for someone like us, not making, 6 figures, all of these things. And he just encouraged me to try. To let's just see what happens. And I think by lesson 2, which was really overwhelming, and I remember us sitting at the kitchen table, me crying because I was so overwhelmed with our financial situation, thinking, what could it hurt to at least try?
There you go.
And by lesson 3, 4, I was sold and I was ready to do this.
Wow.
And a lot of it was because of him and his encouragement.
Way to go, Dalton. Well done, man. Good work.
She's being a little nice, I think.
It sounded like
She's making you look like an ace right now.
I'm
So just
saying,
take it.
I think she gets
Take
big wife points today. Yeah, well done.
So tell us about the journey. What was the process like to actually do this stuff and go, all right, we got to find a bunch of money to throw at this debt immediately?
Yeah, that's a great question. So thinking of primarily our debt being student loans and just encouraging people out there to hear just a crazy situation. At one point, our minimum payments for student loans were going to be almost $3,000 a month because Sally Mae can do whatever the heck she wants.
She's a nasty old woman.
Oh, she's terrible. So we were staring at that number before we had made the move here, and we were terrified. We didn't know, God, how are you going to do this? What's this going to take? So we just took small steps. Let's try and refinance some of those loans, which we did. Let's maybe put some of these on deferment just so we can kind of start treading water to get an idea of where we were at, kind of get bearings. And then we made the move here. And once we both knew our incomes were going to be steady, Ashley was a trooper and found random odd jobs. But once she got consistent work, it was game on. And so we started thinking, okay, maybe we'll throw an extra $1,000 this month. Maybe we'll throw an extra $2,000, and it just kept going to where we were making serious whacks at this massive tree we're trying to knock down, and it's finally down. And wow. God gets all the glory for that, because we were those people that were like, that can't be us. There's no way this is going to happen, and here we are now. And so encouraging people out there, we know that feeling that you had starting this journey or being in the midst of it. It's all worth it, and you can do it.
Mm. And I got to say, we played a small part. The Camel family, Whitney and I, played a very small part in your debt-free journey. Would you tell the people what happened there?
Yeah, so this is very fun. So Ashley, very much lover of French bulldogs.
Oh, no.
Yes.
We knew in the midst of our journey we were not going to be able to buy a dog that expensive, because that just didn't make sense.
Costs more than a car.
Yeah, literally.
Yes.
It was definitely worth more than my car at the time. So we just started planting seeds around here, and George and I got connected, and he was like, hey, would you guys ever want to dog sit sometime? And sure enough, we've done that a handful of times for George and Whitney. So call that a side hustle and maybe delayed gratification, because we didn't own the dog, but we got the puppy love too, which was fun.
That is the best end of that deal for sure.
And you got paid, and you got to give them back.
Yeah.
Yep.
So George,
how you feel about
get all the
grandkids.
credit.
That's exactly right.
I love it. Well, I've got to watch your journey, and it's been inspiring for me and for so many other team members to show that, hey, if you actually do this stuff, it works, and we love to live out the things that we teach, and you guys are such great shining examples of that. We're so proud of you.
He's got the Walk the Talk T-shirt on. About 2 years ago, we started making sure the whole company, everybody working here, is not hypocrites.
Right.
We're telling everybody we do this stuff, you guys need to be doing it. And so Walk the Talk became a whole company-wide movement to make sure everybody went through Financial Peace University. Everybody was walking the talk and doing the stuff we teach and that kind of a thing, so that we're not walking around, again, hypocritical all in our own community here. That would be horrible. And so that was perfect timing for you guys, because you were right in the thick of it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. All right, and so there's one other thing we got to work in here right quick. There's the Believe sign over here. So word is you're like a big Ted Lasso fan. Is that right?
Yeah, I call that maybe why I have the mustache. Ashley gets credit for even saying hey, you should just try it. She used my words against me and was like, just try to grow one, see what happens. And here we are now.
Oh, there we go. Okay. So, that's where it all comes from. Oh, now I'm catching.
I thought it was more of a Top Gun thing, but Ted Lasso makes more sense for you.
No.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Very, very good, guys. Hey, of course, we've got the Live and Give bundle for you that everyone gets that does a debt-free scream. You've already got all that stuff, but you can give it away. The Total Money Makeover book, the Baby Steps Millionaires book, and, of course, a 1-year membership to Financial Peace University. Way to go, you two. We're proud of you. Very, very well done. All right, it's Dalton and Ashley, software engineer here, working on the Ramsey Trusted team for 3 years. And oddly enough, 35 months is the exact time it took to pay off $120,000. Count it down. Let's hear a debt-free scream.
3, 2, 1. We're debt-free!
That'll put some pep in your step right there.
Man.
America is running on that right there.
I'm telling you.
That adrenaline. What a beautiful couple.
Very well done, guys. And it's all due to French Bulldog sitting.
I can't take all the credit.
Who knew that was the breakthrough moment? This is The Ramsey Show. George Camel, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. You hear a lot of myths and outright lies about income taxes, like all tax software is the same. No, it's not. Or you're in good hands with any expert who sets up shop during tax season. You really don't even have to do anything. You don't even have to know about taxes. You can just decide you do. It's crazy. There's no regulation on this. Probably the worst is getting a big refund every year is a good thing. Well, that's awful. Of course not. It's time to stop falling for these lies. You're smarter than this. You can arm yourself with the truth when you check out tax resources on our website. They're free, they're easy to follow, and they'll actually help you feel good about doing your taxes this year, or at least as good as you can feel about it. Our free resources walk you through what you need to know about taxes. You'll learn how to get organized. You'll learn the truth about things like refunds and how to stop giving drunk Uncle Steve an interest-free loan. That's what a guy called it yesterday. Drunk Uncle Steve is the IRS. You don't want to loan Uncle Sam or his brother, drunk Uncle Steve, money all year and then get it back interest-free. That's what a refund is. And you'll figure out how to choose the right tax software or a Ramsey Trusted Pro who will help you do this. So how do you do all this? We'll help you. Go to RamseySolutions.com/tax. There you'll see our free resources and the tax services we trust that are Ramsey Trusted. RamseySolutions.com/tax. Rachel is in Washington, D.C. Hi, Rachel. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Oh, thank you. It's very much an honor. I'll try to keep it brief. My husband is 72. And by the way, George, I'm bringing a Lunchable board with me on Christmas Day. I was supposed to bring a charcuterie board, but I've learned the new names.
They'll never know the difference.
I thought that was great. Anyways, my husband's 72. I just took his first RMD this year. I'm 57. We have 2 kids in the university right now. And here's my dilemma. You were on a call yesterday with a gal who thought her husband felt the cash was just a mirage, or you thought it was a mirage. And I'm kind of in that similar situation that we were debt-free 8 years ago, and then we stupidly did the dumb, stupid thing. We bought a beach house in 2020. We have since paid off more than half of it. It was about $650,000, and we have about $390 left. And I was thinking, should I just take our cash, which I've been holding on to, and I can pay off another $300, but leave maybe about $50,000 in cash, but it's making 4%. That's my main question, because with that gal that called yesterday, I think you were adamant that they pay it off because it's only making 1% sitting in a.
I wasn't paying it off. I wasn't adamant because it's only making 1%. That just made it even worse.
I gotcha.
But here's the thing: a beach house is a toy, and if you can't pay cash for a toy, you shouldn't buy a toy. So pay it off.
Just pay it off
ASAP.
Don't worry about
You've got other money. What is in your nest egg? How much is in your retirement accounts?
Our retirement, our total net worth is like 5.5, but
$5.5 million.
Yes.
Okay. So $390,000 is nothing.
But that includes real estate. I'm sorry, Dave.
That's okay. But $390,000 is still nothing. You have an emergency fund in addition to the money in the $300,000 Vanguard account?
The $350,000? No, I do not.
Okay. Well, you need a good emergency fund. If you want to call that $50,000 like you did a few minutes ago, that's fine.
Yeah.
Let's do that. And so throw $300 at it. Now, how quick can we pay the $90 off? Do you have any other cash laying around? Yes and no. We have our 529s. We get cash flow to kids' education. That's college.
Working.
We're not messing with that. We're not messing with retirement. We're not messing with college. But do you have any other just miscellaneous cash laying around? Or an investment account of some kind, a little brokerage account.
Yeah.
How much?
That's small. It's like 60. The rest is all in IRAs and 401ks and things of that nature.
What's your household income?
About 400 combined.
Okay. I'll tell you what I would do, and you guys may not be up for this. You may want to do it a little slower than that. I would take the 60 and the 350, and I would pay the house off today. That's going to leave you about $20,000 laying around. But with a $400,000 income, you can rebuild an emergency fund to 50 in just a couple of months.
Mm-hmm. And you free up the payment on that vacation home as well, which is only going to catapult you guys even faster into this process.
Yeah.
Right, because the rentals, we only rented 8 weeks out of the year, and even that rental income is like about $45K, so we'll be getting that later in the year as well.
You didn't buy this for a rental. You bought it because you wanted a beach house.
Yes and no. I looked at it. Actually, I looked at it, Dave, honestly, as a long-term, like another form of...
It's a long-term capital gain. It'll do well that way as an investment, but you didn't buy it for the rental income. Beach house rental income's a pain in the butt. And it's usually, it's 99% of the time rationalization, justification for buying something I just wanted. So, yeah, it just drives you crazy. Because it's the place where you stay. You got renters in most of the time. It's just bad. So, yeah, pay it off. Pay it off or sell it, but pay it off. And it's what I would do. And that'll leave you, that'll leave you $20,000. I was right. You have $20,000 left over, and then you make $400, and so you put another $20,000 in, another $20,000 in, and you'll have $60 in 3 months or 2 months, something like that. And you'll have your emergency fund. And then if you're going to buy toys, it's fine. You're worth $5.5 million. Pay cash for them. He has retirement accounts at 72 that you can access without any penalty. If you want to go buy another something for $300,000, that's fine. You can afford it. But just take the money out of the retirement account and go do it. But I'm not going to take it out to pay it off in this case. You've got the money. You're just kind of cleaning up, sweeping the dust out of the corners here.
Well, Dave, this is a question. The heart of it is one we get a lot, especially now where interest rates are up on savings accounts. And people go, well, Dave, why would I pay off my low interest debt when I can make 4% on my emergency fund? Why would I throw savings? And there's a principle underneath it of when you just look at interest rates versus freedom and sleeping better and not having that monthly payment. They're not factoring those pieces of the equation into it. It's just, well, I can make 5% here and my interest is 3% on the debt. Why would I do this? What do you say to those people?
Because that's not the only equation. That's a very naive equation. There's more to the equation than that. There's the stress and the weight that the debt represents. If it's not a lot of debt, it's not a lot of stress or weight, but it's there. The borrower is slave to the lender. There is risk involved that when you don't have debt. And if it's not a lot of debt, there's not a lot of risk. But this idea that you're just simply comparing these two interest rates and that's the proper mathematical analysis of this is very naive because you've left out the toll on your relationship. The weird thing is somebody worth $5.5 million. I'm not saying she would necessarily do this personally, but here's an example. Okay. I do not have any of our second homes that we rent.
They're not owned by you.
I own a couple of. I own a lake house. I own another house other than the one I live in. Okay, and I don't rent any of them ever.
You don't have to fool with it.
I don't need to. And here's what's weird: $5.5 million net worth. They don't have to rent that, but the reason they're doing it is because they got dadgum payment. And they're trying to figure out a way that this makes sense mathematically.
Well, it's easier to justify when there's revenue.
Like this payment is driving these decisions. And if you don't have any payments, Lake House can just sit there. It's okay. It's a toy. It's a small percentage of my net worth. Hers is a small percentage of her net worth. And it can just sit there. It's a toy. And I don't have to rent it to somehow feel like I'm not being wasteful or feel like, because the stinking debt starts driving you to do stupid stuff you wouldn't do otherwise. Like put renters in your very nice beach house, you don't need to. And if you need to, it's because you got payments, because you did some kind of mathematical thing and you left out the fact then that you got to screw with all this stuff and stuff gets torn up. And where is the cost on your time and on your emotions? Where's the cost on a piece of furniture or a family item that you left in there and forgot to lock up before the Airbnb dupers came in there and tore up something, No, thank you. No, thank you. All that means is you can't afford it. That's all that means. And there's more cost involved than a simple, naive formula of, well, interest rates are, oh, shut up. It's not about, there's more to this in life than that. There's more stress involved. There's the physical toll. There's making bad decisions because you're trying to justify something mathematically. There's all this stuff involved.
Not worth it.
This is The Ramsey Show.
Do you love a good Dave rant? Want to see the latest Ramsey Show videos going viral? Check out your favorite moments from The Ramsey Show on YouTube. Go watch and subscribe to The Ramsey Show channel on YouTube.
Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Pods Moving and Storage Studios. It's The Ramsey Show, where debt is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. We help people build wealth, do work that they love, and create actual amazing relationships. George Camel, Ramsey personality, host of the Fine Print podcast on Ramsey Networks, is my co-host today. Open phones here, America, 888-825-5225. Merry Christmas to you. Jessica's with us in Austin, Texas. Hi, Jessica. Welcome to The Ramsey Show.
Hi, happy to be here.
Good to have you. How can we help?
Okay, I have a question. We got into some credit card trouble. We are now being offered to settle for $8,000 less, or we could pay it off with a $500 discount at $20,000. But both of those are going to hurt our credit, and we're going to want to be able to buy a house pretty soon. And I know interest rates are going to matter. Should we try to settle, or should we just go ahead and pay it off, even though they're both going to leave bad marks?
So you're behind on the credit card.
Yeah, it's actually a bigger problem than what. It's not as simple as it sounds. We're supposed to get a 0% interest rate, and they didn't do it, and then they were going to backdate the interest.
But they've already reported you as not paying the credit card on time many months.
Yeah, but
so your credit is already gone, girl.
Yeah, but
and you're calling me acting like you've got sterling credit and you're about to mess it up. You're already screwed.
It's bad, but I don't want to make it worse. I'm trying to rebuild it.
Yeah, I don't want you to rebuild it. I want you to quit borrowing money.
But what about like a house?
You buy a house the way George did.
No credit score. And that means it's going to take longer because you have to get out of debt completely. No open trade lines, no open credit lines. And then 6 months later, 12 months later, while you're saving up your down payment, that credit score will eventually become indeterminable. And then you can use a process called manual underwriting to get that house the right way down the line. So you're not ready to buy a house anyways. So I wouldn't be worried about that.
Yeah, you're $20,000 in debt not paying your bills on time. You don't need to talk about buying a house right now.
No, we have a lot of money, though. We just sold a house. We have $130,000 in the bank. So we're about to be able to pay off all of our debt. We have $30,000.
So total debt is $30. You have $130.
Mm-hmm.
And so what's your question today? Should you do the settlement?
Should she take a discount on a credit card when she has the money to pay it off? You should pay the entire bill that you owe. That's called integrity.
Well, I understand that too, but they charged an extra $3,000 on top of what they were supposed to do. And I called them and I told them, I was like, listen, I said, I don't want to get it for less. I want to pay what we owe, but I also want y'all to take the interest off what y'all said that y'all are going to do in the first place, which I have a recording that they said that they were going to do. So I'm sitting here, I'm saying I don't want to take a...
Okay, so what is the interest dispute about? Explain that.
They were supposed to do a 0% interest rate on a charge before I did the charge, and I never did it. And I would call and tell them that, to have it fixed. And each time they're like, okay, well, we'll fix it. And then we're going to send it up to corporate. And then we're going to send it back up to corporate. And they're going to have to backtrack it.
Now, which credit card is this?
Discover.
Discover. Yeah, you discovered they suck.
Yeah, it's incredibly. And so we've been struggling with them and fighting with them on it. And this is the first time we've ever been in kind of trouble as far as not paying. And
all your other bills are current.
Yes. All my other bills have always been current.
So you have $10,000 in debt that is not this. What is that?
We have a Capital One credit card.
It's current.
Everything else is current.
Okay, so just pay it. Mm-hmm. And, whatever you can come to that is ethical and moral that you really owe, and you can come to that amount, pay it. And your credit, though, is already dinged. This one little thing, discounting this, is not going to ding your credit and keep you from getting a house.
Okay.
What's your credit score now?
It's like 660. It's not great.
Well, you're not. You got other issues then. How do you have a 660 if you've never been late on anything but this one card?
Because it's this card that it's been dinging the crap out of it.
No.
Do you want to see it? I can email you stuff, our credit report.
The only thing you've ever been late on in your life is that one card, and you have a 660.
Not in my entire life, but it was like a 750 before this credit card hit. So
and how long have you been arguing with? How long have you been late with this card?
6 months. We've been arguing back and forth for the last 6 months.
Wow.
Why even argue when you guys have the money to pay for it?
They didn't at the time.
We didn't. We just now have the money now.
Because you sold the house.
Because we sold the house and we couldn't pay it because we couldn't get it current because the interest rate was so high and the minimum due was so high, so we couldn't get current. But
where are you living now? A rental?
No. We sold our house, and my family has a house that we're living in. It's just one of their properties that they had.
How long can you live there?
I don't want to stay here for too long, but for at least another year, we could live here.
Okay. What I would do is pay off everything, get the disputed amount or not, figure it out, and get it in writing that this takes your balance with Discover, because they will screw you, as you have found out. They're a horrible company. And so you need to pay it off as soon as possible completely and get it zeroed out. And then you have no payments of any kind showing on your credit bureau report. And 6 to 12 months later, your 660 will be zero. And then you do manual underwriting the way George said. That's your best shortcut. Because at 660, you're not getting a mortgage like you want. You're going to get a subprime. Mm-hmm. And so your best angle is to drop to zero rather than try to get your number up. The only way you're going to get this number up is keep borrowing more money and paying it back. And go back in credit card debt and run up a bunch of crap just to play the FICO game. And I don't play the FICO game. That's what you talk about getting screwed. Those are the people screwing you. So, yeah, what I would do is get a number that is ethical and proper in writing from Discover this week. Write the check on the other one, close both accounts, and make sure there is nothing on your credit bureau report that is open, that every single item is closed. No trade accounts, no nothing. Nothing is being reported as you paying payments. And your 660 will disappear in 6 to 12 months, and then you'll be ready and just stay in the family house until it disappears. That's what I would do.
That's the simplest path. And
it's actually the shortest path.
Yeah. And as we've seen here, you play with snakes, you get bit. I mean, trying to get the credit card companies to play nice and do what they said they were going to do is a fruitless endeavor. And it's never worth it. And people always open it going, well, it's at 0% interest. I'm getting the rewards. I'm getting the points. I'm getting the sky miles. And it always ends up calling this show going, Dave, we're $20,000 in credit card debt. I don't know how we got here. I'll tell you how you got here. You dealt with snakes, and then you wondered why you got bit. So the simplest thing to do is just not walk into the old cage, Dave.
Yeah, I hope that you remember this experience the rest of your life, and the next time someone runs up to you at an airport to have you sign up for a free T-shirt for a credit card, you smack them and walk away giggling. I hope that's what I do. You need to remember this. I don't actually.
Dave's not scared of assault charges at this point.
I'm not really physically scared, but I mean, my God.
Verbally.
Like, not a chance, Southwest Airlines. Not a chance. This is the Ramsey Show.
Look, I love real estate, and I want you to have a house, but I don't want a house to have you. That's why you need to get in touch with Churchill Mortgage to make sure you do this right. These guys are awesome. They'll help you get on a smarter mortgage plan because they're committed to doing what's right for you. That means they check in every year with free consultations to help you stay on the right plan. They show you how to save money and interest so you can build wealth faster. They walk you through the total cost of your loan so you can make the best choice. Basically, they care. That's why we call them Ramsey Trusted. You can achieve debt-free home ownership, and Churchill is here to help. Go to their site, churchillmortgage.com/Ramsey, to start your approval or get more information.
George Camel, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today as we answer your questions about your life and your money. So the premise on the Ramsey Show is get out of debt and stay out of debt, because that way you have control of your life. Some stupid butt bank or car company doesn't have control of your life. And you have control of the most powerful wealth building tool that you could possibly have, and that's your income. When you give all your income to a stupid butt bank, you have no money, and you have couch payments, and you have cell phone payments, and you have car payments, and you have Sally Mae payments, and payments, and payments, and payments, and payments, and you work your butt off, and you get to the end of your life broke, and you say, gosh, I hope the government, which is well known for its ability to handle money, will take care of me. This is not a plan, America. Instead, we teach you to actually get out of debt, quit worshiping at the altar of the great FICO. And that means that it changes what you use banks for. You know what I use banks for? Checking account. That's it. Got a debit card on it. Got several of them. Several banks, for that matter. A lot of money in banks. But for running this business and for running our real estate properties and for running our lives and so forth. But that's basically all a bank's good for. And guess what? When you start using a bank just for that, you realize how bad banks really suck, that they're absolutely the most horrendous industry when it comes to customer service. They treat you like garbage. They treat you like a name. And so we recommend small community banks, regional banks at the most, and or credit unions. We tell you to stay away from these behemoth banks because they're going to treat you like crap, and they don't care. If you work for Bank of America, you should get a good job. If you work for Wells Fargo, you should get a good job, working for a good company, not the one you're working for. They're awful. And here we go again, like the 6th time in 5 years or the 5th time in 6 years.
Yep.
Here we go again, George. Tell them what's happening with good old Wells Fargo right now.
From NPR, here's the headline. Wells Fargo to pay $3.7 billion settling charges it wrongfully seized homes and cars.
Billion!
Wow.
Billion!
It's 1,000 millions.
3.7 thousand million.
That's got to be pretty bad. So the CFPB, Consumer Financial Protection Bureau.
They didn't just accidentally do this once.
Wow.
Okay.
CFPB can do that. They just ordered them to pay billions in fines for this, and the Wells Fargo agreed to it, which means I'm guilty.
They did it, which means they did it.
Gosh.
They would not have agreed to it if they didn't do it.
Wow.
You don't pay $3.7 billion just to keep
the CFPB happy. You go to court if you're right, but they're wrong. They did it. And the CFPB knocked them in the head. This is awesome.
So here's what happened. People had their cars wrongfully repossessed by Wells Fargo, and the bank took actions that resulted in borrowers wrongfully losing their homes, according to the order from the CFPB. Other customers were wrongly and improperly charged overdraft fees on their checking accounts. Yikes.
Wells Fargo's rinse and repeat cycle of violating the law has harmed millions. More than one of American families, the CFPB director said. I don't know how you pronounce that.
Rohit Chopra? Maybe that sounds right.
Chopra something, yeah.
Wow. That's pretty wild. And so
under
Wells
the terms
Fargo,
of the order, Wells Fargo will pay $2 billion to millions of customers who were harmed, and the bank will pay a $1.7 billion fine.
This is wild. And it's weird that they're such repeat offenders. You'd think they'd learn their lesson after having to pay, which tells you how much money they are making off of you, America, if they've got just $4 billion laying around to pay fines and they just move on with their day. And they build big buildings downtown.
You know what this is called at Wells Fargo, don't you?
What's that?
Tuesday.
Gosh. It's a drop in the bucket for these big banks.
Just another day at the bank.
And tomorrow you'll see their name on the newest stadium in your town. Going, well, how is this possible?
Yeah.
Because they're screwing everyone over with this kind of behavior.
The bank framed the settlement as a way to move forward and reform the company's scandal-ridden past.
Nothing says, we're doing great and not guilty, like we will continue paying billions of dollars to make ourselves look good. Goodness gracious. Okay. Well, if you bank with Wells Fargo, now's a good time to not bank with Wells Fargo. Time to look for a new bank.
What was the other one? It was Bank of America that actually foreclosed on a house that had no debt on it in Florida. They did that. So I always said, we've done research and 100% of the foreclosures occur on a home with a mortgage. That's actually not true. There was that one time at Bank of America foreclosed on a house that had no mortgage on it in Florida, and boy, did they get their butt sued off for that one. Oh, God. But these guys they're like big tech, big fintech here is, if you're Google, if you're Apple, you're larger economically than most countries. So you're somewhat insulated. If you're Wells Fargo, you're somewhat insulated. They had a thing that was it 24,000 employees. You'll have to look that old article up. That's like 4 years ago. 24,000 employees had falsely opened accounts in the customers' names, if I remember the story correct. So these are bankers trying to hit their quota and get their sales bonuses, because that's really all a banker is now, is a bad salesman. And in order to hit their branch quotas, 24,000 different employees had falsely opened accounts in order to hit. I may be a little bit off on the year or whatever, but I'm not off on the idea. The concept happened. And
it's one way to do it.
That was also Wells Fargo. That's part of their scandal-ridden past. You guys.
How do you survive how do you still have customers after all this and people still go there and sign up for an account today?
Well,
knowing all of this.
There's a couple of ways to grow a business. One way you grow a business is you do a great job serving and you get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. You do a great job at your restaurant and somebody wants you to open another one, and somebody wants you to open another one, and your sub sandwiches are good, and so then later on you're Jimmy John's, right? And so you do a good job, which Jimmy John's does a good job, right? So they're franchised. So you serve the customer and you get big to scale because you just keep doing the right thing a lot. The other way you can grow a business, which is the way this one was grown, is you buy up all the competitors. You take all your profits and keep buying all the competitors, and you take your stinky, horrible systems and integrate them into every bank you bought. And then you did it. And so what you're doing now is screwing people with scale. Mm. And that's what these guys are. They're just, guys, if it happened a couple of times in a company the size of Wells Fargo, you would go, well, it's a huge company. Of course, they're going to have a couple of bad actors. This was millions of you that are customers. Millions of customers were harmed. How do you do that and even stay open?
Well, because you people keep going over there and running your dadgum checking account because you think the little stagecoach is in your favor.
They got that old-timey little logo. Makes you think they have integrity.
I got your old-timey logo. Millions! Millions!
You're not going to fool me with the Oregon Trail. Those people died of dysentery, okay? We know how that ended.
George,
don't bank
with
these people.
You are officially old. No one knows what the Oregon Trail is.
Oh, my. I'm trying to teach the young folks out there, Dave.
Oregon Trail.
I had to throw it in
You
there.
must have been 4 when that was out.
Yeah, just about 4.
Yeah.
Good memory.
Computers were new.
Well, the good news is, America, you have a choice with where you bank. And I know it's a hassle to go switch a checking account, but if it means staying away from companies like this that treat you like this, it is worth an hour or 2 of your time.
I just don't grasp why anyone still has an account at Wells Fargo or Bank of America.
The only thing I can think of is if you got a mortgage and it gets sold to a different lender and it ends up with
I'm talking
Wells
about
Fargo.
your accounts. Your banking is there.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
And
do better.
My car did not get repoed. I was not one of the millions.
Wow. Well, it's because you own it.
It's because I don't have anything to do with these idiots.
It's one way to avoid it.
I know what a large snake that bites looks like, and I don't go near them.
I thought that was the friendly snake, Dave. He was smiling at me. Yikes.
He's riding on a stagecoach. Keep it in mind. Millions of customers were harmed. Don't miss that. Please don't miss that. This is The Ramsey Show. Guys, if you have not subscribed to this show on your podcast method, whether it be Spotify, Apple, or Google or whatever, do so. If you've not left a review, leave us a 5-star review. 1 stars don't help. Mama said if you can't say nothing nice, don't say nothing at all. So post your 5-star reviews quickly. We need those. It helps the algorithm, actually. It causes people to learn about this show, and it doesn't cost you a thing, and it's a way you can spread the love. And, of course, you can share the show. And if you're to YouTube and you're subscribing, you can hit the share link and all that kind of stuff. Or if you're listening on one of the 680 talk radio stations across America, you can just tell your friend, hey, I listened to Dave and George today, and they were fun, and they were inspiring me to get away from Wells Fargo and all that kind of stuff. And, hey, they're telling the station and the time that you're listening so you can be sure to get us in there. So
it usually starts with a friend telling you. It takes that word of mouth, and that at scale creates a lot of impact. So thank you to all of you who've done that.
Absolutely. Last-minute gifts don't have to be less meaningful. If you're still looking for some last-minute gifts, we can help, and we won't tell anybody you did it at the last minute. Instead of grabbing random gift cards at the Walgreens, instead you could go get a Building Wealth Live event ticket.
Ooh.
There you go. Just download it right off your computer there. We're going to be in Nashville, January 12th, Indianapolis, February 16th, Austin, Texas, February 23rd, Salt Lake City, Utah, April 24th, Anaheim, California, May the 2nd. We're going to talk to you not only about debt, but how to really build wealth in the middle of this crazy inflation, stagflation, screwed up world we live in right now. How are you going to make it in the middle of this? We will show you the details on how to do that. It's only $49. Come out. We'd love to have you. It's George and Rachel Cruz, George Camel, of course, Dr. John Deloney and Ken Coleman, me, and we're going to talk to you and teach you this stuff. So check out one of those dates. Pick it up. It's a great stocking stuffer. RamseySolutions.com/events. RamseySolutions.com/events. Jonathan is in Lexington, Kentucky. Hi, Jonathan. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hi, guys. I've heard about you all my life, Dave. I'm going to be the first person to actually do it.
Okay, cool.
So everyone's talking about it, and you want to be about it.
Absolutely.
Love it.
I'm trying to be as specific as possible in setting my goals. I'm 25 years old, single, a homeowner. I make about $45K home take home, and next year I have the potential to make $103,000 next year take home, with about $6 or $7 an hour increases scheduled within the next 5 years. There's 6 goals I want to have done in that time: $8K in debt, $12,000 emergency fund, start my 15% retirement. I want a BBA in finance. It'll cost about $40K, but I'm pretty sure I can get that through work. And I also want to be in a $300,000 home paid off after selling my current one, and then somehow find a wife between all of that, debt-free. I've been floating through life for the past 7 years now, and I'm concerned I'm biting off more than I can chew.
Well, I love your drive, first of all, and it sounds like you're trying to make up for lost time, and I want to just encourage you could slow down, focus. You're 25, not 75. You have a lot of life ahead of you, and all of those things can and will happen, but don't, try to do it all at once. And so our baby steps are designed to have focused intensity, one thing at a time, and that means having that $1,000 emergency fund, then getting out of all of your consumer debt, then the fully funded emergency fund. And you said you're already a homeowner, correct?
Yeah.
What's left on your mortgage?
$72,000.
All right. What other debt do you have?
A couple of personal loans, credit card, and I'll be visiting you on January 16th, and I'm going to do my vasectomy there.
Love it.
Fun. So, Jonathan, you said you were floating before, and you're anything but floating now. You're dialed in, focused, and intense now. What was the change?
Well, I had a couple of relationships fall through, and depression, didn't really feel good about myself. I'm down like 36 pounds. I started losing weight and stuff, and I don't know, I'm just snowballs going, I guess.
Okay, so the answer to the broken relationships and the depression was to start controlling the controllables, and so you start taking care of your body. You're
I was blessed to be
you're
born
active,
in the
and
USA, so.
you've gotten some help or whatever, and have moved your way away from the depression, and now you're setting yourself on goals. That's awesome. Way to go.
Thank you, Dave.
So proud of you. That's a good move. It's 180 degrees. You've turned this whole thing around, and that's a good thing. And then, we don't want to ever put water on your fire. You're doing a great job. The only thing that George is saying that I would agree with is that what I've always found, including our business goals here at Ramsey, including product launches here, including building a building, nothing ever turns out exactly like you plan it. So just give yourself some emotional margin that if it doesn't work exactly like it did on paper, then that doesn't mean you lost. And so, if I set my goal to make $1 million and I've never made $1 million and I don't hit my goal and I make 800, oh darn. Are you okay then? And so my point is the beauty of goals is not necessarily the mechanical, legalistic achievement of the exact goal in the exact time frame. It's that you start asking yourself what must be true, and you're asking yourself that. I've got to do this, this, and this in order to get to that place. And so you're now on an intentional journey rather than aimlessly being bumped around this life by everyone else. And so the beauty of the goals is that it puts you in the direction and in the journey and gives you the energy to fight and push and scratch and claw towards it. Sometimes you come out above the goal and sometimes you come out below it, but every time you've moved in the right direction. And so that just give yourself a little bit of permission to almost make it or to more than make it and still say, I hit the goal.
Yeah. I remember this conversation I just had with James Clear on the Entree Leadership podcast. It's coming out soon. And he was talking about how we focus on the results so much, but what really matters is our identity and the habits we're forming and the discipline that's created as we try to get to that result. And so it was a great reminder for me as we all, head towards our goals this year. And Jonathan, I want to walk alongside you metaphorically and send you our brand new Ramsey 2023 goal planner that Rachel Cruz, Dr. John Deloney, and I worked on that will help you set those goals, stay on track, help keep you accountable. But we're pumped for you. So hang on the line. Austin will pick up and we'll send you one of those goal planners.
Merry Christmas, Jonathan. We're proud of you. Justin's with us in Salt Lake City. Hi, Justin. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hey, thanks for taking my call.
Sure. How can we help?
So let me give you some background. I just graduated last week from college. My wife and I have a 12-month-old son. My wife is a stay-at-home mom. Our household income is about $85,000 before tax.
Congratulations. What's your degree in?
Construction management.
Good for you. Are you in that field?
Yes, I am. And a lot of the income has come because of how I've worked through school. So that's the next thing. We've worked really hard to graduate without student loans.
Good.
But that being said, we do have a car loan we're trying to finish up right now. We have about $5,800 left on it.
Mm-hmm.
I just got a signing bonus for $5,000.
Good.
And so that would leave us $800 on that loan. But the wrench that got thrown into our plan is that our son has been having some health issues, and we have an appointment next week with the Primary Children's Hospital here to see if he'll need a surgery in January. Add in another wrench. I need to finish registering today for our insurance at my new job. So it's a high deductible plan ranging from $1,500 individual deductible up to $6,400 individual deductible, with the max out of pocket double the deductible.
Going to cover your son? Is it going to cover your son?
It will, yeah. We lose. We're on cheap government insurance right now. We lose.
What's the nature of your son's medical condition?
Some gastrointestinal issues, and so we don't know if he'll need the surgery. Yeah. And so I guess my question right now is, should I pause baby step 2? We're so close.
Yes.
Okay.
Pause it for 6 weeks. Take care of your baby.
Okay, thank you.
Your baby's more important, and we're going to take care of them. You're a good man. You're doing good work. Just give yourself a little time. It's not long. You're going to pay it off very, very soon. But just give yourself a little bit of breathing room, because you got a 1-year-old that's sick and you can't breathe. Nobody can when they're in that situation. I can't breathe, and it's not even my baby. This is The Ramsey Show. Merry Christmas, America. This is The Ramsey Show. We're glad you're with us. George Camel is my co-host. He is the host of the podcast, The Fine Print, and also my co-host today, Ramsey Personality. Phone number 888-825-5225. Gary is in Riverside, California. Hi, Gary. Welcome to The Ramsey Show.
Dave and George, thanks for talking to me, and thank you for the advice in advance. My situation is my wife and I have inherited a condominium here in Southern California from my uncle. He passed away in August and has been sitting vacant since then. And we're trying to determine whether we should keep it and rent it or sell it. And I can tell you whatever you need to know about the condo and our financial situation.
Okay. What's it worth?
Probably somewhere low side 500, high 630. That's based on, there was one that just sold that was a complete fixer-upper with holes in the ceiling and everything, and it sold for $490.
Any mortgage on it?
There's no mortgage on it,
okay. No. What's your net worth?
Our net worth, since we've acquired the condo, is about 2.8.
Okay. Your home paid for?
Ours is paid for, yes.
So you're 100% debt-free?
Oh, baby step 7, sir.
Way to go. Well done. Well, I mean, it's just a matter of whether you want to be in the rental business or not then.
Yeah, so I was using the sunk cost analysis that you've talked about before, and quite frankly, if I had $600,000 sitting on my table, I don't know that I would buy it, but it seems that under the situation with it being paid for, it's in an area where there aren't a lot of rentals available, so it should rent. It will need some work. It was built in 72, and he's done very little to it. I mean, it's even still got popcorn ceilings and that. We do have some money that we could sink into it. My wife and I, our goals were, we had begun saving for a vacation or second home, and so we've got money set aside for that we could then divert to this if we chose to keep it.
Okay. It's just a matter of what you want to own. Do you want to scrape popcorn ceilings and own this and be a landlord and put off the purchase of your second home that was your dream prior to this blessing? Or do you want to just turn this into cash and accelerate your dream on second,
right.
Second ownership? Either one's fine. There's not a wrong answer. There's not a nothing in the stupid column here. It's just a preference. What do you want to own? The thing your sunk cost analysis is the right way to look at it, because you weren't looking to be a landlord, or you would have already been one. But maybe now there's an opportunity in front of you, and you say, well, maybe I kind of do want to try this, and that's okay. But there's no one out there, we're not at Ramsey going to say, oh, you absolutely should do this as a landlord, or no, you ought to sell it. No, either one of these is fine with me. I don't know you.
Yeah, I mean, there's no filter. There's no baby step for this. A lot of people just say, you know what, this wasn't part of the plan. It's a blessing to have, but if we turn it into cash, it will accelerate some other goals that we have. But some people go, this is really sentimental. I want to turn this into something and have this be passed down generationally.
No.
And so that can be a
popcorn
part.
ceilings.
Right.
There's nothing sentimental about popcorn
Nothing
ceilings.
special about that. So if I'm in your shoes, again, I'm not you, but I might turn this into cash and accelerate some of the other dreams that we had.
Yeah, if we were to keep it, is there any thoughts on what is a wise amount to say this is the cutoff of what we're willing to pay to fix it up and make it rentable or sellable?
Well, you want to get $1.25 out for every dollar you put in. And so if you spend $100,000 on it, it needs to increase the value $125.
Got it. Okay.
Something like that, or $150, right? I don't want you to spend $100,000 on it, increasing the value $80. I'd rather you just sold it, right? So, so you may talk to your real estate agent about that. Get to the Ramsey Trusted ELP in the area to give you some advice on what to actually do. They may tell you to sell it exactly as is, rather than that the money you could spend on whatever is not going to come back out. So that's generally going to be my tendency. Spend the minimum on it if you're going to flip it. And the same thing if you're going to rent it. Because what happens to beginning landlords is they try to make a rental property a place they want to live, and you're not the focus group.
Right.
So, I mean, honestly, $500,000 condo in California is supposed to have popcorn ceilings. It's not going to be much. This is not the expensive neighborhood.
The expectations are low.
No, it's not. It's an older neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that kind of expect that if you roll up in that driveway, right? So I don't know that you've got to do that. You're not moving in it. So you're moving in it. I'm moving in it. Popcorn ceilings are going away. But that's a different. We're not the customer in this case. And so
those real estate agents will know.
Yeah,
exactly
what you got to do is look at that from a management standpoint if you're going to rent it, or are you going to flip it, and what's happening in the neighborhood? Are people going in there and, regentrifying these things in a sense and really shining them up and making them Gen Z friendly? Man, what happened to the yuppies?
I was just thinking that. I was like, how old are they now?
The yuppies must have gone the same place the Hittites went.
Are they retired?
They moved down by Nolensville. I don't know. Oh, man.
Down by the river.
Okay, down by the river in a van. So, yeah, that's what I would do. Spend the minimum on it to rent it, or the minimum on it to flip it, whichever direction you decide to go. So ask yourself, 10 years from today, when our net worth is $8 million, and we own this condo and it's worth $1 million or $1.5 million 10 years from today, what are we glad we did this? Are we glad we had tenants for 10 years? Are we glad we invested in this? And does that feel right? Or does that kind of make your like your stomach goes up in your throat? Then don't do it, right? So, but there's not a wrong answer. It's a blessing. It's a wonderful thing that your uncle left you. And hey, take a little comfort in you're the guy that actually did have a rich uncle.
Wow. It happened to one guy we know.
We met the guy. We met him. He's here. Yeah, we just talked to him. His name's Gary, and he lives in California.
As far as we know.
He's the guy. I knew somewhere out there was a guy that actually had a rich uncle. That's him. So
it's rare.
George, have you got a rich uncle?
Not personally.
Well, that would be personally, yeah.
I just didn't want to dog my uncles. I'm sure they're doing fine.
Oh, I see.
I just don't think they're astronomically wealthy. No one's leaving me in their will with $1 million condos.
If you did have a rich uncle, you're probably not going to be the benefactor. That's what we're saying.
That's what I was trying to say in a nice way.
All right.
The list is long before I get there.
Yeah, well, and you got,
I'm low on the totem pole. That's why I'm building wealth for myself. I don't expect it from any rich uncles.
That's a good reason right there. Good motivation.
Well, we had someone call. Dave, you weren't around for this, but they called and they were asking us for our advice, and we gave it to them, and they said, well, I don't think I'm going to do that because I got family that's going to leave me a bunch of money. I went, okay. So
you called the show why?
I said, I'm good. I don't need this. I'm about to inherit a lot of money, and you guys, your advice is irrelevant. So I thought, well, thanks for wasting our time, as well as yours. That was very nice.
It's an indication.
But that's an attitude people have out there.
It's an indication they should not have been left in inheritance.
And we say,
it's messed up their lives.
Is it don't count the chickens before they hatch? Is that the saying?
That's the one.
Because you never know what's going to happen until that person actually is deceased and you're actually in the will.
Your rich uncle might have heard you being an idiot on the radio and took you out of the will.
Or he went, I have to add him to the will. You could have triggered his memory there, Dave, so thank you.
I forgot to do that, yeah.
Oh, boy.
This is what happens around Christmas time on this show. I'm just saying. All right, folks. Open phones here at 888-825-5225. This is where we teach you to live on less than you make, a concept apparently Congress can't grasp. $1.7 trillion. Thank you very much.
What's that number? Student loan debt or how much they've spent?
That's what they just passed to keep the place open because they were afraid the lights were going to go off.
Wow.
And, there's a little, okay. Yeah, that'll do. Merry Christmas.
That will do.
That'll do. That'll do, donkey. That'll do. That puts this hour of the Ramsey Show in the books. Dave here. You can find all of our shows with the Ramsey Network app on your smartphone. It's the only place to listen to the entire back catalog of episodes. Download the Ramsey Network app in your favorite app store today. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Pods Moving and Storage Studios. It's the Ramsey Show, where debt is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. We help people build wealth, do work that they love, and create actual amazing relationships. George Camel, Ramsey personality, host of the Ramsey Network's podcast, The Fine Print, is my co-host today as we answer your questions about your life and your money. Merry Christmas, America. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Brant is going to start us off this hour. Hi, Brant. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. I appreciate it, and Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas. How can we help?
Well, my wife and I just kind of have a quick question here, hopefully, but I'll give you some numbers. We're 32, and we're kind of on baby step 6-ish. We live in two places because we work in two different places. One of our homes in our states is paid off, and it's worth about $380K. And then the other house that we have is worth about $950,000, and we owe about $540 on it. And then we also own a commercial building that my business operates out of. It's worth about $300,000, and we owe $170,000 on that. Our retirement account is at $260,000. So the kicker here is that we have a 2-year-old and a 4-month-old, and my wife makes about $220K a year, and she'd like to become a stay-at-home mom in, about 18 months or so. But so when she leaves her job, we'll probably sell one of our homes in one of those places. We haven't decided where yet. And then we'll probably go down to an income of about $40,000, maybe $45,000 a year.
What do you make now?
Yeah, like $45,000.
In a $300,000 commercial building?
Yeah, so basically I bootstrapped a business from like the ground up. And so because I'm essentially not there half of the year, it's that. I don't pay myself a whole bunch of money because I'm not there, just to make sure that I can keep employees kind of operating while I'm away.
So what are you doing when you're away?
Taking care of my kids.
So you're staying at home half the year?
Yeah.
She's in a different city.
Yeah, so we live together every time in each different city. So when she's working here in Austin, I'm here in Austin, but I'm taking care of the kids. When we go to Minnesota, that's when I work, but then she stays at home and takes care of the kids.
What does she do?
She's in academia. She's a professor.
Okay.
So that's kind of, so you know kind of what those income levels look like.
Okay, so we're going to combine households and land in one place. Which place are we going to land? Austin or Minnesota?
We don't know that yet.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I like your value system and where you're headed, because the way you're living life now is kind of cray-cray. And so I like, the direction you're moving with this, but I think your destination needs some refinement. Meaning, I don't know why she has to go from 225 to 0. There's a lot of options in academia that she could make, work just a few hours a week and make 50 to 100K if we line this up properly. And we're not going to accept your business, which absolutely sucks, as our final destination.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You two are high capacity people. Your goal should not be, we're going to live on $45,000.
Okay.
I think you can land better than that and still get the quality of life all in one city, and her being at home largely with the kids, if not completely with the kids. And that's a good baby step in between these two. But just to suddenly take a machete to this thing you've built is not a good plan.
Okay.
So I think you need a better plan on where you're going to land, and she needs an adjusted plan on where she's going to land, and that's going to put you guys well up over 100, and you got a sustainable situation then that's not as bizarre as you originally outlined when you came on. Because, dude, I mean, you have to admit, what you're outlining is pretty bizarre.
Oh, yeah, it's wild.
Yeah.
That's why we called.
Yeah.
What kind of business are you running?
So it's like a retail. It's a retail business. It does we do some training. We do some like physical fitness training, things like that, and then we have some products and random things like that. And I don't foresee that being our full-time business. It's just like right now, if we had a fallback, and because her family is there, and that's where our families are.
Up in Minnesota.
Okay, we could operate. Yeah, it's like we could operate there for as long as we wanted.
Well, I wouldn't land there out of convenience. What I want you to do is have some intentionality about both of your careers and your location, and go, okay, then that will tell you how you can back into this and say, over the next 18, 24 months, whatever, we can make these 6 moves, 2 of them on her career, 2 of them on your career, 2 of them on the real estate decisions, and then that will put us in this other position that is a sustainable life then, with a standard rhythm to it. But I mean, I don't blame you for wanting to change the way that you guys are living now. It's kind of wild, and it's been, it's obviously run its course, and it's time for you to do something different. So, but I think the fact that this season is over has led you all to just this extreme thing of nothing. We're going from 100 miles an hour to full stop. And I think you can go from 100 miles an hour down to 50 miles an hour. between the two of you, income-wise, and by the time you're located and get the efficiency of being in one location, sell off a piece of real estate, open a business, don't open a business, expand the one you've got, take a different career field. I don't care.
And part of this is getting rid of some of this debt. And so the commercial debt, the personal debt, and the mortgage, the sooner you guys are completely debt-free in your personal life and your professional life, the easier it's going to be to make these kinds of financial decisions.
Yeah, that's going to put you in the right direction. But the beautiful part about both of your skill sets is they can be scaled up or down. They don't have to go 0 or 100 miles an hour. You don't have to be all or nothing. And so higher ed is, like a lot of things, is being impacted by the digital world and is morphing. And so she's just got other choices that she can look at now.
Teach a few classes online.
Doesn't have to be 0.
Scale it down.
Yeah, the amount of mentoring and tutoring, all kinds of different things. I don't know exactly what she's doing in academia, but there's just a lot of options in that world right now because they don't have a lot of choices. They're going to have to provide options. This is The Ramsey Show. George Camel Ramsey Personality is my co-host today. If you've gone through Financial Peace University, chances are it's because someone in your life lit a fire in you. Mom and dad gave it to you as a gift. Your pastor offered it at your church. A friend that wouldn't stop talking about it. So finally you took the class, you worked the baby steps. Now everything's different. You changed your entire future. Well, maybe this is the time you light a fire under someone else. You can give someone you care about Financial Peace University and share the same hope that you discovered with money. And if you're a last-minute Christmas shopper, it's pretty easy to do this. It's not too late for Financial Peace University. We've got a totally digital way to send it directly to your loved ones so you're not stressed about shipping. This Christmas, give the people you care about a gift that actually matters. The gift is hope. The gift is freedom. To buy FPU as a gift, go to RamseySolutions.com/GiveFPU. RamseySolutions.com/GiveFPU. Bonnie is in Kansas City. Hi, Bonnie. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hi, happy holidays, Dave and George. We are very new to the journey of becoming debt-free and learned about your methods about 5 months ago through a friend on Facebook. They posted that they paid off their home, which was really awesome. And I'm very, very happy to have come across your debt-free program, as I despise bills, like most people do. We're 1 month away from completing baby step 2. We have several rental properties, with one of them being a fourplex. We're at about 58% LTV. And we're currently cash flowing in all the properties, and we really want to keep them. We want to aggressively pay off their mortgages with a gazelle intensity. And we're so serious in paying off these mortgages that we've moved into one of the rentals with the lowest expenses. So the mortgage is like $625. And my question, Dave, is related to, I actually have 2 questions related to baby step 3. Is saving $70,000 for emergencies just for the properties too high or too low? Is that a good ballpark? And my second question is related to baby step 6. After we pay off the property that we're currently living in, which property should we attack?
Cool.
Next?
Way to go, Bonnie. Good job. Very well done. Okay, so the total debt on all the properties combined is what?
The The total debt month, well, I would say annual or like the
No, the balance, the payoff balance.
On all of the mortgages is $1.7 million.
Okay, on how many properties?
It's 9 units that are rentals.
Okay, and you're living in one of them.
That's correct.
Okay, all right, cool. And what is your all's household income?
We bring in take home with the rentals is $26,000. Without is about $10,000.
That's your total household income? You're living off of these?
Is that monthly?
So that's what we're bringing. That's what we're bringing with.
I mean, you don't have careers
monthly.
separate from the rentals?
Oh, yes, we do. It's $10,000 a month.
A month? Okay, good. I feel so much better.
Scared him.
Okay. I was asking. Yeah, I was asking
hoping it
annual,
was a
and you
month.
said $10,000 and $26,000. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. Good. Okay, so you make $150 a year, and then you've got the rentals on top of that. Okay, so what I would tell you is set up a household emergency fund of 3 to 6 months of expenses to operate your household. That's nowhere near $70,000. That's going to be 15 or something like that. Okay, and then you should be able, if you haven't already, to run budgets on your rentals. You have enough rentals that you should see a pattern of repairs. That out of 9, I buy I buy a heat and air unit 1 a year, or I buy 1.5 a year. Out of 9, I spend X on this problem and that problem. You have a predictable repairs pattern on a portfolio that size. And that should be built into your budget on your rentals. Before you're taking money out of the rentals, you should be setting aside money for that predictable, in other words, retained earnings or emergency fund, whatever you want to call it, for your known repairs that are in a pattern on that many rentals. So your rental portfolio probably does need 50 to 70 grand in liquid cash sitting around because you're probably seeing a standard rhythm of repairs. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, you do want to build that up. But as far as baby step 3 goes, that second part of the discussion on the rentals is for the rentals. Baby step 3 is for you. That's just 15 grand, and then move on to baby step 4. And 4, 5, and 6 is putting money into retirement. 5 is kids' college, and 6 is we start paying off all real estate debt. Now, the last question was, what order do I do this? I would just run a debt snowball on them, and it's not a panic. Once you get out of baby step 3, we move from intense to intentional. And so I want you to systematically say, if we plow all profits from the rentals, and we live on our incomes, we plow all profits from the rentals and X number of dollars from our income into that snowball, and you just list your mortgages smallest to largest, how long is it going to take us to clear $1.7 million? My guess is 5 to 7 years.
Yeah, we're estimating about 7 to 10 years.
Okay, not a bad guess then. Okay. And the thing that'll happen is, rents will go up during that time. They generally do. Your income will go up during that time. Generally does. And you're going to get more and more and more focused as you go along. You generally do. And so that's where I think the 7's probably going to end up being the number, or 6 or something like that, unless you get a landfall of some kind, and then you might even end up doing it faster.
And something that you could do if you want to accelerate that is choose the rental that gives you the most pain in the rear end and sell 1 or 2 of them if you want to accelerate this thing and clean up the debt faster. So that's an option for you as well.
Yeah, your least favorite 1 or 2, clean them out of the portfolio and use that money to accelerate this process. And then when you are completely free and you're just these things are cash flow like a bandit, then you can buy other properties with the cash that they're throwing off and never be in debt again. That's what I've done.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I just once I got free, then all of my property makes enough money that I can buy more property just with that money without even having to look at my personal income or my business income or anything else.
That's where it really gets fun.
Yeah, it really does it gets real fun then.
It's less of a pain.
Yeah. It's monopoly then. You're just going around the board and collecting your $200 at the turn, right? And move on to the next deal. And that starts to be really cool. So but I would not tell you to be intense once you get out of debt personally and have your emergency fund in place. Personally, I would tell you to be intentional.
Yeah, I mean, you want to live your life. You still want to go on vacations, and so you may want to get a primary residence that you actually enjoy instead of living in this rental property that you hate just because it has the lowest payment. So that would be a goal as well to throw in there, your own personal life.
Yeah, but if you'll pay a price for that period of time, this next 5 to 7 years, and the price is simply, when we're faced with a choice, we're going to try to choose debt-free. We're going to choose debt-free. We're going to choose debt-free. And maybe, like George said, peel off one or two of the rentals that you like the least, that you say, hey, 10 years from now, I really don't want to be owning this thing.
Yeah. Well, Dave, some of your most controversial advice is to pay cash for investment property. People go, Dave, that's insane. You got to just leverage debt. Why would you wait and try to save up hundreds of thousands of dollars? What do you say to those people?
I've never been foreclosed on since I went this route. I used to get foreclosed on the other way.
Wow.
I lost everything the other way. Using tic-tac plans, I went broke.
You mean the 17-year-old that told me how to get rich quick from real estate is not telling the truth?
You're kidding.
How is it
There's
possible?
a 17-year-old
They're
on
all
TikTok
over the internet. Oh, yeah.
telling people about real estate.
At least he looks like it. He can't grow facial hair yet, so I'm not sure.
Oh, God.
Could be 22.
What a world.
What a time to be alive.
What a world. This is The Ramsey Show. George Camel Ramsey, personality, host of the Ramsey Network's Fine Print podcast, is my co-host today. In the lobby of Ramsey Solutions on the debt-free stage, Zachary and Cassandra are with us. Hey, guys, how are you?
Good.
Amazing.
How are you?
Better than we deserve. Welcome. Good to have you. Where do you live?
Chesapeake, Virginia.
Well, welcome to Nashville. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
How much debt have y'all paid off?
We've paid off $97,181.
Cool.
In 11 months.
11 months. All right. And what was your range of income during that year?
We started at 180 and then finished at about 220.
Cool. What do y'all do for a living?
We're both engineers.
Ah, of course you are.
That's incredible. Okay, so tell us about this journey. What kind of debt was this for you guys that you were looking to pay off?
I think it was a little everything. We had student loans, we had car payments, we had credit cards, we had outstanding tuition bills for grad school, we had taxes that we had to pay, little everything.
And you just collected it slowly over time, collecting this American
nice
dream
going. Yeah,
that turned out to be the American nightmare.
Just creeped up on us. Yep.
Wow.
How long you guys been married?
4 years?
Yep, 4 years.
So what happened 1 year ago that started you on this journey? Because you got pretty intense here.
So 4 years ago, when we got married, she wanted to do the Dave Ramsey plan. And when she mentioned that, it must have Google heard something, and a reel popped up for me. And it was a caller that their company was paying off their student loans for them at minimum payments. And you said, nope, pay them all off. And I said, wow, that doesn't sound like a very good plan. I don't get it. And so we did nothing. We worked and we lived, and 3 years later we had our first child, and we moved to Chesapeake. And in the end of 2021, my dad ended up getting sick with COVID, and he wound up in the hospital. It was pretty serious, and he called me, and he couldn't really talk without getting winded, but he called me and he said, hey. A couple years ago, your mom loaned you some money, and you haven't paid her back. You said you'd pay her back. You need to pay her back because she's too nice to ask for it. But if I go, I know you're never going to pay her back. And I was like,
wow,
yikes, that hurt.
Wow.
So that night I was putting our son to bed, and I looked at him. I was like, wow, what kind of example am I setting here for my son? So the next day we were at work, and Cassie came into my office, and I guess I was just sitting there with bloodshot eyes, and she's like, hey, you ready to do that Ramsey plan now? She was waiting silently for 3 years.
Wow. Patiently waiting for the wake up call. Wait, do you guys work at the same place?
We do.
Yes,
Yeah.
I work
that's
upstairs. He works downstairs.
So you can just bother him at any time.
Yeah, she does. She takes full advantage of that. Yeah. And vice versa.
So baby comes, dad's in the hospital, you get this wake-up call, and you're like, I have just been living La Vida Loca, doing what I want to do. It's time to really start taking care of my family.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
And so that night, we went home and we watched the first 2 episodes of FPU, and we just went all in. And every time we saw a Tahoe on the road after that, we're like, man, you gotta amputate the Tahoe. That's it.
Yeah, and when someone was lazy, I'd be like, you're not being gazelle intent. No.
That was it, yeah, you're being like a deer. You're not a gazelle.
Wow. I keep thinking of the quote, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And that's what it took for you guys. It took at least you, Zachary, being ready to do this plan. But when you were ready, goodness, you guys are engineers. You went, there's a process here. Let's just follow it because it works.
That was it. Yeah, We went all in.
How much did you owe your mom?
It was like $2,000.
And so you knocked that out, of course.
We just paid her
as part of this. Yeah. How's your dad?
He's listening right now. He made it, and he made it out. I think 11 days or 12 days or something like that in the hospital. Wow. But he pulled through. So
good.
There was a silver lining and everything.
Glad.
So
that's good news. Well, and he busted your chops.
He still does. Yeah, he still does.
That's fun.
So
very good. All right, what advice do you have to someone who says, I'm ready to get out of debt? What are the keys to getting out of debt?
Wow. So it's hard to limit it to just a few things, but we've learned that there's certain friends that were like spiritual energy dementors. They sucked like all the life and happiness out of us.
Competition. It felt like having them as friends was competition.
So getting more involved in our church, our Friday nights looked a bit different. We'd take Isaiah to the church and we're like, this is our fun, happy place to be. You'd be celebrating and decorating the church for Vacation Bible School. So surrounding yourself with godly, like-minded people was everything. And then giving each other grace. Man, I was 9 months pregnant, flipping furniture on the side, and, we beat each other's throats, and we're like, we need to give each other grace. Like, we're both tired. Having 2 kids is stressful. Working all the time is stressful. Just being together through that moment. And we have so many inside jokes now, and I think we're better for it. And lastly, so I just had my second son here November 3rd, and thankfully, since we were debt-free, we didn't have to worry about the horrible hospital bill. I ended up rupturing my uterine artery and staying in the hospital for quite a bit of time. And we never had to worry about bills.
Yeah. Wow. One less thing. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember I was waiting for her. They ended up taking you to try to figure out how to stop the bleeding. And I was sitting there, just waiting for somebody to come say something to me. And the last thing I had to think about was, what's the bill going to be? Because I didn't care. Mm-hmm. I was like, we just paid all this off in 11 months. We got an emergency fund going, and we'll do it again in 11 months if we need to. It was peaceful.
Good news is insurance picked up most of it, I'm sure.
They did, yeah, and it was perfect.
Yeah, good. Wow. Well, it does. It turns a crisis into an inconvenience, at least as far as the financial part goes.
Exactly.
I mean, you still got to physically heal and still got to go through that process, but and it still scares the crud out of you. But aside from all that, the fear and the anxiety was not financial. That's the point. Yeah. So well done, y'all. I'm proud of you. Good work.
Thank you.
Okay. What advice do you have for the guy who found some weird reel that he didn't agree with on ours, like you did, some nuanced, weird piece of advice, and he won't go along with this?
So I when I saw that reel, of course, you got to go into the comments. Mm-hmm. And that's where the magic happens. The comments are always, that's where the truth is. And the comments were all, they were kind of hating on you that was bad advice.
Thanks.
So just take the comments and do the opposite. And that's
actually good advice. Whatever the comment section is
about
doing.
anything in life. Whatever the commenters say in social media or following an article, whatever they say, do the opposite. That is wisdom right there. I like that. Because if you read the comments, you understand why some species kill their young. Oh, my gosh. It's unbelievable. Yeah. Yeah, that's where the hate happens for sure.
And you got to listen to your wife in the first year of marriage when she says, let's do this Dave Ramsey thing. Just do it.
Don't wait till the fourth year.
Just don't wait.
Yeah.
We could have had our house paid off by now probably, but here we are. We're on baby step 3. We'll keep going.
You're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. I'm proud of you. You've done a great job. Way to go. You persevered through. You pushed through. Very, very impressive. We've got the Live and Give bundle for you, the Baby Steps Millionaire's #1 bestseller book. That's the next chapter in your story for sure. The Total Money Makeover book for you to give away and stir somebody up, stir up a ruckus, and Financial Peace University. You can give that away as well since you've been through it. 1-year membership to that. So very, very well done. And you brought the kiddos. What are their names and ages?
So this is Theodore, and he's just 2 months old.
Way to go, Theodore.
Here comes Isaiah, and he is about to turn 2 in January. So
wow.
we road tripped out here with 2 under 2.
And, you're brave.
That was an adventure in itself.
You're brave. Well, these little guys will never know the stress of debt in their household because of you. You have changed your family tree. Proud of you. Very, very well done. I bet your dad's proud, too. All right, count it down. Zachary and Cassandra from Chesapeake, Virginia. $97,000 paid off in 11 months. Count it down. Let's hear a debt-free scream.
3, 2, 1. We're debt-free!
Yeah! Oh, man.
A debt-free baby smiling. That's what America needs right now.
Amen and amen. This is The Ramsey Show. Our scripture of the day, Psalms 112:5. Good will come to those who are generous and lend freely, who conduct their affairs with justice. Charles Eastman said, children must early learn the beauty of generosity. They are taught to give what they prize most, that they may taste the happiness of giving.
Beautiful.
Very good. Good stuff. James is with us. James is in Houston, Texas. Hi, James. Welcome to The Ramsey Show.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate y'all taking my call.
Sure.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. How can we help?
Yes, I was calling to get some advice for how I can give my family and my wife the kind of lifestyle we want. It just seems like I've been hitting some roadblocks. I used to be a teacher, and I didn't have the patience for it, and I was really stressed out, and so I transitioned into truck driving, and it's making a little bit more money, but it's harder on my wife because her eventual dream is to be a stay-at-home mom, and it puts me out a lot more, and I'm not able to spend as much time with them, and just help her out in any way that I can.
What's your question?
My question is, how am I able to, if we keep on hitting these roadblocks of not being able to stick to a budget and sorry, I'm a little nervous.
That's okay.
We're having a hard time sticking to our budget. We paid off our debt. We're in baby step 3, so we're trying to save up our emergency fund. But how can we better stick to our budget so that we can get that emergency fund saved up. I can transition to a more home daily position, maybe start a side business so that I'm able to let my wife work or be a stay-at-home mom and still be able to support my family.
So the goal is she stays home and you work locally, and your income is more than enough to provide for the family.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's correct.
Is there a certain number you think would do that as far as income?
Well, we both used to teach, so we made a little over $100,000 a year, but it doesn't seem like I can really do that by myself unless I, start up a side business and eventually grow that to be more profitable.
Well, I think you can. It may not happen tomorrow, but it sounds like you jumped from teaching to trucking thinking it was going to be some kind of silver bullet, but it wasn't.
Yes, sir.
Why are you not able to stick to a budget? Give me an example of when the budget breaks down.
Well, sometimes, if we're, my wife is stressed with things at the house and she needs to eat out or
How old are you guys?
Recently, I'm 30 years old.
How old is she?
And my wife she's 30 as well.
Okay. And how many children do you have?
One child.
What age?
7.
Okay. All right. I'm hearing some hints in here that the responsibility for all of this is on you, that she's not taking any of the responsibility for this. Am I missing something?
Well, I am trying to be the head of my household.
That's not what I said. It's not a matter of what the head of the household is. She is also an adult member of this household and has a co-responsibility for living within a budget and having to achieve household goals. It sounds like all of this goal achievement is on you, that she's not participating in carrying any of the load.
Well, I don't know. I feel like no matter what I try and do, I just can't seem to make it work.
Because it's just you.
By make it work, do you mean make her happy?
Yeah, and get our emergency fund and be.
But you have. You've worked through you said you've been working through the baby steps, but you keep falling off the budget, and the explanation of falling off the budget was she got stressed and went out to eat.
Well.
And she wants to stay home.
Yeah.
She has a lot of things she wants, but I haven't heard where she's contributing anything to this conversation. So here's the thing. Families that, regardless of who's the head of the household, we can have all kinds of theological or doctrinal discussions about that if you want to, but families that that are married have two adults that are emotionally carrying the weight of the decision making towards a set of shared goals. And I do not hear that here, bluntly. I don't think that's what y'all are doing. I think you're running around trying to do all of this on your back by yourself, and I appreciate you trying, but I got to tell you, man, if she's not willing to say, I want to be a stay-at-home mom, and so I'm willing to be a home economist, and I'm cooking from scratch, and we're going to coupon, and the kid's going to be in consignment clothes so we can get this crap moving to get things happening, then I'll carry that part of the weight of this, because that gets us because we're both in agreement that one of our goals is her to be a stay-at-home mom. I'm not disagreeing with the goal. I'm disagreeing with you trying to get there by yourself and you're towing 2 children along. That's what I'm hearing. And I'm not picking on her. I'm just saying the way that she the highest probability of you two achieving the goals that both of you are laying out, regardless of whether they were her motivation or your motivation, but we've agreed they're now our goals, is for both of us to lean into that and carry our share of the weight, which would sound like, in her case, as an example, I want to be a stay-at-home mom, so I'm willing to tutor from home to bring in some income after we make that move as a side step, because you can make a lot of money today tutoring, really good money, while the kid's taking their afternoon nap. So, and then you're willing to go out there and bust it and give up some nights at home to get some over the road trucking income and to get your side gig going. So everybody's willing to pay a price, live like no one else, so that later we get to our goals. But both of you have to be willing to carry that, James. And both of you, and a key component of that is the budget is not the master of this situation. And it's not because Dave said do a budget, but the budget is the way you freaking get there.
And part of this, James, I sense some shame that has been put on you from her, that you've created for yourself, of gone, I'm not providing enough. And I just want you to see the true reality of the situation is not that you're not a good husband. It's that the framing of this conversation is a one-way street. And you need both people contributing to this, and that means getting on a plan. Maybe you have a dream date together, setting the vision, saying this is where we're headed. I need you to contribute in all of these ways if we want to make this goal happen. And if she says no, well, then the goal needs to change, because you're both going to be miserable. And so we have to do something about this, and it can't all fall on you.
Yeah, and you can get there. This is a doable, like you said, George, this is a doable thing. It might take 36 months, but the year that I quit doing real estate and did Financial Peace University launch and went full-time into this business, our income went in half. And for the following 30 months, 2.5 years, I worked 16-hour days, 6-7 days a week. Sharon will tell you she felt like a single mom during that time. But the part was we were in agreement on the goal, and the part she was carrying was the weight of the household. I was carrying the weight of a startup business, and it got this thing off the ground. But there was a period of 30 months, 2.5 years, that was very, very, very tough in the early days in order to get to our shared goals.
You guys live like no one else.
That puts this hour of the Ramsey Show in the books. We'll be back with you before you know it. In the meantime, remember, there's ultimately only one way to financial peace, and that's to walk daily with the Prince of Peace, Christ Jesus.
Do you love a good Dave Rant? Want to see the latest Ramsey Show videos going viral? Check out your favorite moments from the Ramsey Show on YouTube. Go watch and subscribe to the Ramsey Show channel on YouTube.